How's it going, everyone? Autodesk Saz here, and today we're going to be talking about a topic that everyone should implement in their drawings, whether you are a beginner or whether you are a long-term artist, and that topic is how drawing fast and loose will change how you do art. And I'm just going to be listing off some reasons why you should implement this practice and how you should implement this practice. So let's get started. I have 3 groups of reasons. Each group has separate reasons as to why you should implement drawing fast and loose and how you should implement drawing fast and loose. So for the first group is it helps build confidence. With your confidence up, it means you draw better lines. You spend less time undoing and spend more time doing, less time pressing Ctrl Z and more time actually drawing. And that means it makes you feel good about drawing because you're drawing without fear. You're drawing without the fear of a mistake, right? And this also applies to this second reason of this first group, which is it allows you to do more long form lines and gestures versus short and chicken scratchy lines. Because the number one pitfall for a majority of artists is they do these hairy lines, they do these chicken scratchy lines, and they are afraid to commit to a singular line or a singular gesture, which means they don't succeed nor do they fail. They're in this middling road of hairy lines, chicken scratchy lines, where it's kind of a line, but it's kind of not. This also helps avoid the common pitfall of putting the art on a pedestal, putting the line work on a pedestal. You should be loose, you should be messy, you should be wild on your sketch, on your drawing. You should be fast and you should be loose because you can always rein it in when you do a second pass through with a pen or a third pass through when you do your inking, right? And to actually tackle the mechanics of drawing fast and loose, you should only draw with your shoulder. Never draw with your wrist. This is very important. You want to do big sweeping movements, your shoulder and arm in a neutral position, ready to draw at all angles. You want to be able to tackle any perspective and any angle at any time. You do not want to be afraid of a gesture, or you don't want to be afraid of a line. You just want to get it done with, and you want it to have energy, because that's the main point of drawing with your shoulder only, is drawing with energy. You want to transfer your energy from your shoulder onto whatever the line is when you're drawing. And you also want to look at your reference more than your actual drawing, which is the common thing most art tutorials will tell you, is measure twice and cut once. Maybe you can also learn that you can look at your reference while you're drawing, so you're not even looking at your drawing yourself, or you're occasionally glancing over at it. And when you're looking at your reference, you can understand what you're drawing rather than focusing on the minute details of lines, and focus more so on the overall gesture. This leads into what tools should you use? Well, it doesn't matter what tools you want to use, whether it is chalk, charcoal, pen, pencil, ink, pen, etc. This method of drawing fast and loose, or rather the method of drawing fast and loose, will work with and work for all tools of any kind. You want to keep the grip on your particular tool loose. Do not be firm, don't tense up. You want your body loose, you want your arm loose, you want your shoulder loose, and you want your pen loose. And that's very important, because the whole theme of this first grouping that I want to explain is, if you've noticed, is the looseness. Drawing fast, with energy, with life. These lines will look lifelike. They will not look stiff, and they will always be more interesting than a line that is super chicken scratchy or super hairy, or a line that is very stiff and not very lifelike. In the second grouping, I want to talk about more of the mental side rather than the mechanical slash creative side like I did with the first grouping. And the first part of this second grouping is you want to be objective and purposeful, not careful. And that's a very important distinction. You want to know when things go wrong, and you have to know that not everything has to be detailed or accurate. And I genuinely think that you should throw accuracy out the window to a certain extent when you draw fast and loose. What do I mean by objectively and purposefully? Well, when you have an objective in mind, it means you want to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to do, and purposefully means you want to do it with confidence. And this also goes in hand with consulting the reference first. Learning these two things will also help you when we get to our second reason, which is things will go wrong, and be patient. You'll learn very early on when drawing with confidence, when drawing loosely, when drawing gesturally, that your fundamentals and skills will be tested to the extreme. Your understanding of whatever it is you're drawing will be tested, and you will fail a lot, and your drawings will suck, and you just have to deal with it and move on. And by dealing with it and moving on, or if I can word it a different way, is you have to fail quicker so you can succeed faster. As I've mentioned in my earlier videos about the most common pitfalls of being an artist, and in my video about looseness and experimentation, failing quicker so you can succeed faster. It also lets you throw ideas and your own work at the wall to see what sticks and see what doesn't stick. Less time spent per art piece means more time rotating your particular skill sets, whether it's drawing vehicles, whether it's drawing bodies, still life, etc., and it lets you draw different things at a faster pace. Drawing things at a faster pace means you fail faster, and when you fail faster, you know what went wrong and what doesn't go wrong. It'll help particularly if you're a certain type of artist, if you're a stickler on the details and you're a stickler on every single thing being perfect. This will help you move on from that mindset. The third grouping I would like to talk about is more of a personal look into how drawing fast and loose has changed how I personally have done art in my 2.5 years of drawing. Personally, I am more looser, I am more confident, I have less scratchy lines, I know when I don't understand a subject, and I have less frustration when I quote-unquote ruin an art piece, whether it's with shading, anatomy, or perspective, etc. So let me break some of those sub-reasons down. I'm more looser and more confident. I'm drawing with my shoulder now. My lines are more confident. They are less chicken scratchy. They have a genuine lifelike energy and feel to them, and I feel better when I draw loosely and I draw fast. I get things done faster, and I'm more confident of myself as an artist and of the art piece in general. And it also highlights when I don't understand a subject, because if I can't draw the subject in a more loose definition, in a more fast definition, and I'm spending tens of minutes on a particular area, whether it's hands, whether it's feet, whether it's faces, whatever, it means that I need to spend more time studying this particular subject, and I need to understand mentally that I'm not doing what's correct, or quote unquote correct, and I need to spend more time hitting the books, right? And it also helps me when I quote unquote ruin an art piece. I mean that in quotes, because lots of things can go wrong with drawing, and lots of time can be spent on drawing, but lots of time doesn't have to be spent. If I spend 30 minutes on a drawing and I spend 2 hours on a drawing, I'll have less qualms about messing up 30 minutes in than I do messing up 2 hours in, and I can't undo my way out of the situation maybe if I like messed up the perspective, or I messed up a certain feature, and maybe I just messed up doing the layers and stuff like that, and then I have no qualms or no reservations about, you know, just throwing it away and starting over. This doesn't mean that I want to discount careful practices of art, such as if you're inking a very big drawing or you're cross-hatching with intent slowly. But I personally think that if you learn how to sketch fast, you'll learn how to sketch loose by nature, because that energy, even when you do sketch fast and loose, and then you move on to maybe, you know, zooming in and doing details on a character or a particular subject, is that same energy will be applied to that particular way of practicing, and it helps you stay loose throughout the art process, right? Because, you know, when you're zoomed in and you're all the way on the details and stuff like that, it's easy to lose perspective of what you're doing and what you're trying to achieve, which is why I go in the second grouping. I go into the second grouping, which is being objective and purposeful. Certain areas of drawings bode well for, or go well with, looseness and drawing fast. So gesture drawings of human bodies as well as still life. Basically anything will help, but the two major areas of art that I've studied that has helped immensely is gesture drawing, as well as drawing vehicles. Vehicles are a great way of understanding gesture, and since vehicles are primarily mechanical, it allows you to input a sense of creativity, a sense of life into what is otherwise a mechanical subject, because you have the angle of the tires, you have the sweeping curves of a car's exterior, you have the sloping of the roofs. And on the flip side, not flip coin, is that human bodies are built with gesture in mind, whether it's the legs, the arms, the head, whatever, right? Learning the gestures of the human body will naturally mean you will learn the gestures, or rather the practice of using these gestures on other objects as well, like cars or drawing still life or things like that. I personally think we have an innate sense of sketching loose and drawing loose without fear when we were children, and implementing this type of practice into your own art will help tap into that aspect of drawing and will better all facets of an artist's being. And you'll feel when you draw fast, right? You'll feel it in your arms, you'll feel it in your entire body, because you're incorporating your entire body. It's kind of like a primal sense of feeling, and I felt that way when I was drawing this Jackie Chan pose, that I was trying to implement drawing fast and loose, and maybe the second half wasn't really fast or loose. The first half definitely was, and I genuinely felt different, and I genuinely felt like I was in the zone when I was drawing, and I wouldn't have felt that way otherwise if I was being careful and super secretive of my lines and of the subject that I was trying to draw. So hopefully this helped anyone who's struggling with art, and maybe this has opened your eyes on this practice of drawing fast and loose, and maybe you can implement it in your own drawings, in your own art, and maybe you can implement it when you view art as well, because art is not only doing, it's also consuming. So whenever you look at an artist, see what kind of gestures they do, see where they apply gestures, and whether the ratio of gestures to being careful is applied. And it's a fun exercise to look at, and it's a fun exercise to do both for beginner and long-term artists. Thank you for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.